Welcome back. In the last video, we got started with Azure DevOps, wherein we started creating bunch of organization, and underneath the organization DevOps Unlimited, we created a bunch of projects with name of Azure DevOps. Underneath it, we got started with the Azure boards, wherein we saw how you could manage your work items. Work items could be anything, any sort of task or activity which you want to capture in Azure DevOps as a form of an work item. We then saw how you could create bunch of work items and how you could add tags and how you could add priority description, how you could add the comments and add reactions as well. We then saw how you could link child items to your work items. We then got into queries and we saw how you could manage or fetch details using the queries. We created one sample epic sample query wherein we uh, pulled out bunch of work items bases on tags. In this video, we're gonna be getting started with backlog. Before that, we're gonna see how you could create. So this project, Azure DevOps, it's a basic project. In methodology, in agile methodology, we talk a lot about stories. So we're gonna create a project with a process type as agile. So we're going to start with the project name where we going to type in agile project just for the sake of giving a name, and then a description. This is an agile project, and go to advanced. Instead of basic, I'm going to select agile. So you would have noticed that you couldn't when you were creating a work item, we could see epic feature and bug. We couldn't see anything named as a as a story or something like that. However, the type of work item, the horizon gets increases with the type is agile, wherein you not only can create bug epic feature, but you could create issue, task, test cases, and most importantly user story, which is pretty common in any agile methodology. So what we're going to do is we're going to first start with creating bunch of user story. Let's give it a name probably. Create let's suppose you were writing an application, CRM application, and you want to get started with a login page. Work area is you can define multiple areas to your team, so we have only single area. We could add tags. This is login, and then you want to add another tag, dev. Add a little description. This is a login page story, and then acceptance criteria is where you define the definition of done. What is the definition of done? So a developer gets a story. He says that my story is done, I've completed working on it, the story is kind of done now. What's the definition done? How do you quantify that whatever developer has done is considered as actually done? So you define the acceptance criteria. When you are able to log in, when you are able to log out, reset password, and once these small features are established, you consider it as done. Then probably discussion, story points. You could define the story points, be it a Fibonacci series or t-shirt sizing, whatever you want to define. Priority starting from 1 to 4, and then business value. Business value, whether it's a business oriented case or an architecture one. It gives a history, and then it gives you to add link. You could add an existing item, or you could add a new one. We do not have an we do have a existing one. Probably create a login page, refer to the Google Firebase, which is on different project. You could link them as well, and then we've got the attachment. Whether you want to attach an architecture diagram or anything, you could use the attachment as well. Discussion. Let's get started and probably add someone and hit on save, and that's gonna create a work item for you. This is a kind of story. We could create more user story. Probably you need bunch of CI/CD pipeline, CI/CD pipeline for login page, and you assign, this is unassigned, so you could always assign it to user so that the developer can start working on it. This is part of the infra, and then this is part of the CI/CD. You definition of done, configure CI and CD, and you hit save. So this is how you could create bunch of work items, and you probably add another one, testing of the story, add it to again. Since I have only one user, I'm gonna add the same user again and hit a save button. Probably you add a tag as well and then hit save. Alright, so if you go to the work item, you would see that this has got the all the work items underneath with an ID assigned to them. If you go to the backlog, you would see that the story which was there has right populated over here. Backlog are basically what's the difference between work item and backlog? So work, anything you think of, any idea, any feature, any epic, anything, any smallest of the request or any idea, you capture it in a form of work item, and within the backlog you define that which work item needs to be prioritized. There are 100 of work items you have logged in, but you got to reorder it. You got to reorder basis on your business need. Maybe the create login page in this case needs to be the highest priority. Maybe CI/CD is not the highest one, so you could drop down it below. Testing goes up. Maybe if testing needs to be the highest priority, it goes to the top, and this is how you define the priority. And then you could add the iteration, which we're going to look later probably. Yeah, so backlog is basically to time box a task, to make sure that you prioritize some task, wherein work items, anything and everything you want to capture onto your board, or you want to make sure that it is being captured to be picked up later, gets added to the work item. So we've got the board backlog sorted now. You would see that we've got task, testing tags, and bunch of other tags as well. So now if you could go to board, you would see that your board has got multiple tasks, because this is the holistic view of whatever you are doing, your team is doing. Some product manager or director, or somebody at the highest level, upper management level, wants to see who is doing what and in what state your project task of your projects are running. So these are the tasks which have been created, and these are still active and new. So once the developer has kind of done it and he has started working on it, he could move it to active, and once it is resolved, he can simply go directly to the resolved one as well. This is how you could manage multiple tasks. Basically, this is beneficial when you're working on the sprint and you have a time box. So you don't want to extend your stories or work items forever. You need to time box them. You need to uh, pull it and make it done within certain time, maybe a week or 2 weeks, whatever your sprint or iteration is. So this is how you kind of define in the board that, okay, in the first week it was active and now it is in the resolve state. You could always go to the settings and play around with your and style your board. So at the moment it's pretty neat and clean. So you could always tag your color code your tag. So if you got a CI/CD, you could tag them, you could color them, and if you got an infra tag, you could color them as well. And then you've got dev. Let's color code that as well. If you save and close, you would see that all your tags are now colored, and you could see that which one is of infra and which one is CI/CD. There are a bunch of other options as well. If you go to the styles and probably do it one by one. Rule 1, give it a color, and activated by me, and hit save, and you see that the card has been colored. So you could identify right looking at the card that these card belong to which particular person. You could use other rules as well, which kind of defines probably rule 2 or 3, whatever is deemed appropriate. Whenever the tag value is dev, just give it a color. So this is how you could modify your cards and make it more aesthetically appear good to your eyes, and anybody who is kind of looking at the board kind of feels good that okay, this card belongs to dev, this card belongs probably to a tester, or something like that. So once you're done, you could always close this, and which we're gonna denote that you've performed a closure on a task and you've completed this particular task. So this is how you could manage your boards, and this is how the board is the backlog is different from work items. That's it for now. I hope this was informative. I'll see you in a while. Thank you.